Grooming gangs and whether or not we should have another inquiry is up for discussion today, with Kemi Badenoch making lots of headlines, basically reacting to Elon Musk, of all people, who wants Tommy Robinson released from prison, and also feels that Keir Starmer is somehow covering up child abuse here in the UK. It's worth pointing out that Maggie Oliver, who did so much to raise awareness of grooming gangs when she was at GMP, and Great Manchester Police, and also Nazir Afzal, both opposed the idea. And their issue, and I kind of see it, is that we've already had an overarching national public inquiry to sex abuse across the UK. The inquiry published its findings in October 2022, and all of its recommendations were ignored by government at the time, which was the Tories, where Kemi Badenoch was Trade Secretary, which I don't know. It seems a bit of a strange position to be in, which is why I'm very grateful I've got Chris Tuck on the line, child abuse survivor and campaigner, who sat on that independent inquiry into child sexual abuses, victims and survivors. It was the consultative panel. For 8 years she sat on it. She joins me now. Good morning, Chris. Happy New Year to you. Where would you like to start? Where would you like to start?
Where do we start? I have a lot to say. So if we don't cover everything, I'm going to do another video and upload it to socials later for people to tap into, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
So let's think about a fish pond, Matthew. And each fish represents a part of what sexual abuse and exploitation looks like. So we've got one fish that may represent the grooming gangs, organised networks. We've got one fish that represents online abuse, one fish that represents abuse within sports, within religion, within education, within, you get my drift, yeah? There's multiple fishes in this pond. And if you look at the overall picture, that's what we need to be addressing. And that's what ICSA addressed. So each fish has its nuances, its complexities, can't even say that word. But it all needs to be responded to in a different way. But no one ever looks at the collective bigger picture. And that is what I want to make one of my points to you today. We need that whole systems approach to the bigger problem, the endemic problem that is within our society that no one wants to talk about. Okay, that's my first point. Now, listening to Maggie Oliver and Sammy Woodhouse, I'm friends with both of them, yeah? I've been an admirer of their work for many years, and I know they had different thoughts and feelings about ICSA than me, okay? But I always come at this from the approach that we need to implement those 20 recommendations in order to make sure we have that new, different approach that is going to tackle this once and for all, so that this generational impact doesn't follow on. And it is when we're staying silent and not doing nothing.
To be clear, you would argue that the public inquiry we've had about the national situation that you contributed to, that stands. We should be acting on that. That's where the focus should be. We don't need more inquiries. I mean, I have to say, as I've got older, and I think you can probably understand this, my faith in public inquiries to deliver positive outcomes for the subject they're addressing is on the floor. So I'm not yours is a classic example. It made so many strong recommendations. Nothing's happened, or little has happened.
So public inquiries have their place. They give a voice to the voiceless. They shine a light on what is actually happening. It shows the scale, the scope, it shows the challenges, it shows the failures, and it shows what needs to change to make it better for those people impacted, but for society in general. And the Inquiries Act needs to be changed because, the blood infection scandal, the post office scandal, many other different scandals. We've had these public inquiries, we've had the recommendations, and all those reports are sitting on a shelf. And we are not allowing that to happen with the Act on ICSA campaign that we're involved in, because we truly believe that it's going to drive that foundational cultural change that needs to happen. And as I said, I can speak about this till the cows come home, but I know you're short on time. But the grooming gang scandal, or organised networks, which you brought me on to speak about, it does need its own eyes on it.
Focus,
but
a focus on it.
But we can do that in a different way, Matthew. We can do that through holding a government select committee, and no one's spoken about this yet. We need that swift action, not the endless delays. A select committee can shine a light on the failures, hold the institutions accountable, and deliver real solutions to protect vulnerable people. So all of these MPs that are in uproar, they can call a select committee, and they can then look at this grooming gangs, organised networks as a focus thing without it costing loads of money, and then addressing all of those concerns by all of the victim survivors that have been impacted by grooming gangs. And their lives have been destroyed, Matthew. Let's not take it away from the victim and survivors, yeah? But also what I want to say is, yes, we have got an issue with the grooming gangs and a particular ethnicity. But when you look across everything, anyone can be a perpetrator and anyone can be a victim. And we mustn't lose sight of that. So that's when I said, looking at the fish pond, we need to look at each fish for its complexities and what needs to happen in that particular area, because each area is different, has its nuances. But overall, society does not want to talk about sexual abuse and exploitation, and we have to, Matthew.
So I'm broadly in agreement, because what you're saying is talking about it from a positive way in terms of actually addressing the concerns and getting things fixed. What I'm getting increasingly concerned about are far-right agitators using child abuse as a means to cause further division and disruption in our country. And you know, some of the stuff Elon Musk has said vis-a-vis Tommy Robinson is just outrageous, frankly, and shows that Musk has no respect of law or indeed of the abuse of children, the verbal abuse of children. Kemi Badenoch saying, we need an inquiry when she was part of a government that didn't act on the last one. I mean, it must be frustrating.
From a victim and survivor's point of view, it's great that we've got a light shining on this, whoever has started the eruption on it. I'm thankful that we're now speaking about it.
Yeah.
But on the second point, I am sick and tired of child sexual abuse and exploitation being used as a political football and being kicked around everywhere, point scoring. We're talking about children, young people who grow into adults who have another generation of children. That impact follows, yeah? This has all got to stop. This has got to be a cross-party, politically, professionally, so that we address these deep-rooted issues that we have. So we need proper data capture. We need to understand the prevalence. We need to understand who is causing these crimes. We need to understand who are the victims, and we need to address the reasons why. Is it that our culture is changing in such a way that we need to go, you know what, in this country, we have these laws to protect children and young people, and everybody who lives in this country has to live by those laws. They can't do their own thing. We have got laws in place to protect children and young people, but also the whistleblowers within institutions, they need protecting.
Yeah.
They come out, speak up about what's going on, and they get penalised, they get shut down. That should not be allowed to happen. So Whistleblowers UK, for example, they're trying to get a law passed where whistleblowers are protected, because at the end of the day, right, every institution has a system. We all sign up to their systems, yeah? If their system is broken and the whistleblowers are saying the system is broken and we're not delivering on behalf of our services, we need to put the systems right, don't we?
Chris,
common sense.
Chris, you speak brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly on such an emotional, turbulent issue. Your analogy of the bowl with the different fish in it, I've found very useful. I'll take that one with me. Your passion and clarity of message, first class. So let's hope politicians of all different hues can combine and listen and finally get something put in place to address that terrible abuse.